Vancouver will host 7 games at the 2026 World Cup, and last week, the Breaker website obtained Vancouver's host contract with FIFA. It's a 98-page document that includes guidelines for stricter security, advertising restrictions, and visual beautification measures in parts of our fair city. And so, what might this mean for Vancouver residents? And what can we learn from hosting major events in the past, things like the 2010 Winter Olympics, or even going all the way back to Expo 86? Well, Meg Holden is an urbanist with Simon Fraser University. She is on the line to talk about exactly that right now. Good morning to you, Meg.
Good morning, Stephen.
This agreement is now finally public. When you look over that 98 pages, is there anything that jumps out to you?
Well, there's still some redacted elements there, so there are some question marks. But I think it's a one-size-fits-all document, or at least it reads that way, for the numerous cities across Canada, U.S., and Mexico that are going to be hosting various games in this FIFA World Cup coming up next year. And Vancouver's got some unique elements that are going to make it awkward for us to implement this sporting event.
And now tell me what you mean when you say Vancouver has some unique elements that are going to make it awkward.
Well, we've got this compressed space on and around BC Place that's related to our long-term urbanization strategy, which is dense and multi-use. So we don't have like Seattle Seahawks Stadium and their neighborhood there. It's basically the stadium and commercial activities. We've got a lot of people living around BC Place, and we've got a lot of our most vulnerable people living not too far away within what we can expect to be the sort of this sort of controlled area that FIFA is going to want to define, we're obliged now to define. And we also don't know how long this defined area lasts. So some cities in Rutherford, in the New York City metro area for the FIFA World Cup, they're planning on having the stadium whole controlled area blocked off for 30 days before the first game and up through 8 days after the final game that they're hosting. So it's a long period of time next summer that there could be, extreme measures of security, movement controls in that area, and we just don't know.
What we've seen is a 2-kilometer radius, essentially, from the middle of BC Place Stadium, and that would encompass a lot of residential properties. I mean, surely people need, free access and egress to their properties to be able to get home after work.
Sure, but then there's the question that we are obliged to secure what they call a festive atmosphere for ticket holders, right? So that includes special arrangements for limousine transport. We do have a mayor and council that appears to be quite fond of police escorts. There's increased funding and requirements for policing in the area, and that all is okay so far as it is going to provide a great sporting experience. Like soccer's fun. It's great to be host to a big global event. Vancouver rises to that occasion really well. But what are the downstream effects? Like, we have this expectation, I think, after hosting the Olympics, that local infrastructure is going to benefit. And we've heard Chief Wayne Sparrow, for example, from Musqueam, pointing to the soccer play fields that they got on Musqueam land out by UBC as part of the 2010 hosting. And I'm just not sure that FIFA is going to result in those same kinds of local benefits to compensate for the inconvenience that we're going to face.
We have seen this movie before, 15 years ago, with the 2010 Olympics coming to town. What impact do you think that had on some of the more vulnerable people and vulnerable neighborhoods in this city?
Well, you could say that it certainly turbocharged the gentrification that was already underway. And it also opened up a lot of investment opportunities for Vancouver. So there's this, constant push and pull of wanting to be able to finance growth and then wanting to protect people who aren't benefiting from that growth. I think overall, the vulnerable people in Vancouver probably had some mixture of benefits and drawbacks from the Olympic Games in that same spectrum.
Mm.
But the thing is that we did have a very strong coalition of citizens and advocates to make sure that there were some benefits, some tangible benefits, including some jobs, some um, community hosting kinds of roles to play.
Yeah.
And we're now a year out, and we haven't seen any indication that the city now is going to release details about how they're going to engage people, including vulnerable people, in order to ensure anything lasting and tangible of benefit for the city from this event.
We do have this agreement now, but it took almost 3 years. And independent journalist Bob Mackin from the website The Breaker had to fight for it to be obtained and published, and still it has redactions. What do you make all of that? What does that tell you about transparency moving forward?
Yeah, it's not a good sign, is it? I mean, we've got ballooning costs, right? Initially, the city and the province said that the cost of hosting would be on the order of like 118 million. Now we're seeing reports of $500 million. Other cities in this hosting network, like Houston, they're sort of scratching their pennies together and saying, we're not sure that this is going to pencil out. And that's with significant investments from the federal government in the US. Toronto's received some $100 million promises from the feds. I haven't seen any announcements about what kinds of support Vancouver's getting. So I think it's all really hit or miss and touch and go in terms of what how we're going to pull this off, and as a local host community, to make this make any sense, except for um, you know, improving the look
Yeah.
that the mayor and council want to present to the world.
Yeah, and there is a specific beautification clause there that I'm looking at this moment to get rid of litter, graffiti, and other visual nuisances. So, Meg, it's really good to hear you this morning. Thank you so much, and we'll continue to follow this.
Thanks a lot, Stephen.
Thank you.
Have a
You
good
take
day.
care. Bye-bye. That's Meg Holden, an urbanist with Simon Fraser University.